Since the PlayStation 5 stock isn't the greatest thing in the world right now, it's a good thing that developers and publishers are still putting out PlayStation 4 games. In fact, the majority of titles you're seeing coming out are for the PlayStation 4 still, and that's what we're looking at in this video, specifically the top 12 new PS4 titles coming in April of 2021. Let's get right into it, and I want to kick things off with the game that I'm the most excited for, and that is NieR Replicant version 1.22474487139. NieR originally came out back in 2010 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Didn't get a lot of buzz with the initial release, and then NieR Automata kind of changed everything for the franchise. I think everybody was shocked at how well that game was received and how well it did from a commercial standpoint, and now we have NieR Replicant, an upgraded version of that title, the upgraded prequel of NieR Automata. A kind young man sets out with the Grimoire Vice, a strange talking book, to search for the sealed verses in order to save his sister Yona, who fell terminally ill to the Black Scroll. Now, NieR Automata was an excellent game. I wouldn't expect this game to be quite at the level of Automata, however, I would expect a game with an excellent story, great music, and great presentation. I mean, the music in the NieR titles just in general are top-notch, some of the best music I've heard out of a video game in a long time, and the only thing that I could see people being hesitant about with this one is the full $60 price tag. I think it would have been beneficial to at least go $10 cheaper at $50, but hey, that's just one man's opinion. The game is due out on April 23rd.
I detect magic within the glowing cubes.
Next up, we have Outriders, and yes, while Outriders is getting the majority of its buzz probably on next-generation platforms on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, this is one of many games that will, in fact, be a cross-generation title. Now, this is a game being done by People Can Fly, the studio that is best known for their work on Bulletstorm. Outriders, a different kind of experience, a cooperative looter-shooter that we've seen quite a bit of, a little bit of RPG elements in there as well, actually a little bit of an emphasis on its narrative. I played the demo, didn't have a blow-away experience with it, but I do know that Square Enix is in a position where they really do need to establish new IPs, because from the Western end, yes, they always have their JRPGs, you can see that with NieR Replicant, but they do need to establish some Western IPs that are received well, especially after like Marvel's Avengers wasn't the greatest. I think there's a lot of pressure on People Can Fly to deliver something of quality, and hopefully we do see a quality cooperative experience when Outriders does drop on April the 1st.
Humankind is bleeding out in the trenches of Enoch, a once beautiful planet ravaged by a mysterious anomaly, hyper-evolving its flora and fauna to purge the virus that is humanity. In other words, you. Now, Enoch is hell off Earth.
Next up, this one is getting lost a little bit in the shuffle, but ScourgeBringer is in fact coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita on April 22nd. This has an old school look that is going to be right up the alley of a lot of people. Action-adventure roguelike title, ScourgeBringer is a fast-paced, free-moving roguelike platformer. Help Kyra to explore the unknown and slash her way through the ancient machines guarding the seal of her past and maybe the redemption of humanity. Game was received quite well with a 76 on Metacritic and a very positive reception on Steam, 1,530 Steam user reviews, 91% of those all-time reviews being positive. I think this is the type of game that people are super into these days, and I think it's going to do relatively well on PlayStation 4. The game is priced at $16.99 on PC, on Steam I should say, and I imagine it'll get a similar price point on the PlayStation 4. Next up, here's another one where I think a lot of people are going to be excited for, and that is R-Type Final 2. R-Type has returned. The legendary side-scroller is back and better than ever with beautifully rendered 3D graphics, exhilarating shoot-'em-up gameplay, and a multitude of stages, ships, and weapons that will allow you to conduct a symphony of destruction upon your foes. R-Type isn't a franchise that's like near and dear to my heart. However, I do know a lot of people are super into R-Type. And if you're into shoot-'em-ups, this is one of those standout franchises that a lot of people do herald as a top series, and now we do have it making a comeback with R-Type Final 2, being published by NIS America, and it's right around the corner, coming April 30th. Based on what I can see already, great shmup gameplay, great particle effects, and things of that nature. If you're into shoot-'em-ups, probably going to be something right up your alley. Also kind of cool that this game is dropping on the same day as Returnal on the PlayStation 5. Housemarque, of course, doing quite a few shoot-'em-ups in their day, and Returnal has a lot of elements of a shoot-'em-up as well, even though it's a big budget, third-person shooter. It's got that high-octane action gameplay with a lot of blasting. So interesting to see those two drop in on the same day. Probably just a coincidence, still find it rather interesting. Next up, JRPG fan, SaGa Frontier Remastered will be dropping on April 15th. Another title dropping by Square Enix. They've got a busy April coming up. The beloved 1998 RPG classic SaGa Frontier is reborn with improved graphics, additional features, and a new main character. SaGa is one of those Square Enix franchises that has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle over the years, but there's definitely a fan base for it. Not one of those JRPG series that was really my cup of tea, in the sense that, when these games came out, I was a little bit younger, and definitely a couple of those games I did miss out on. Now it can be introduced to a new audience, and I think with the upgrades, the visual upgrades, the additional features, it's going to be something that is going to be a nice release. Price at $25 as well, palatable price point, nothing crazy, and I think that's the perfect price, especially being released at a period where there's not a lot of JRPG competition. Yeah, there's NieR Automata, but that's at the end of the month, and that's still relatively empty as far as, big JRPG releases, so I think it's good timing to drop this, and again, out on April 15th. Next up, we have a PSVR title that I do want to mention, ALTDEUS Beyond Chronos, a sci-fi adventure full of robot battles, pop music, and emotion, featuring one of the largest branching storylines ever in a VR game. With 15 to 20 hours of gameplay, ALTDEUS will place you in the shoes of Chloe, a pilot in humanity's forces fighting massive hostile organisms known as the Meteora. The game was released on PC back in February of this year. Very positive reception, 57 Steam user reviews, 96% of those reviews being positive, so that does put a pretty good picture for the game. And it will be out on the PlayStation 4 for PlayStation VR in April. I know not everybody has jumped into VR. Maybe you're waiting on VR 2 with the single cord connection. Unfortunately, not Wi-Fi or wireless, but what can you do? But yeah, another game adding to the library on VR, which already has quite a bit of depth. I know it's been kind of slowly getting a lot of depth to its library, and not a lot of people have been paying attention to, PSVR really expanding its offerings, but good to see that it's still dropping some notable titles. And ALTDEUS looks like it's going to be adding another one. Next up, I know a lot of people are excited for this. Star Wars Republic Commando coming to the PlayStation 4. So many people have so many fond memories with this game. Now, I wasn't really a Republic Commando guy. Battlefront 2 was always the game that I was super into as far as Star Wars goes. This one, I missed out on playing a ton of it, but I do know people are super nostalgic with it. The game has you as the leader of an elite squad of Republic Commandos. Your mission is to infiltrate, dominate, and ultimately annihilate the enemy. Your squad will follow your orders and your lead, working together as a team instinctively, intelligently, instantly. You are their leader, they are your weapon. The game was received so well back in the day, and again, this is one a lot of people have been waiting for, to be able to play again on the PlayStation 4. It'll also be on the Nintendo Switch, so no, people are super excited for it. Not something that I am super excited for based on the nostalgia standpoint, but I'm definitely excited to give it another go. Just based on how excited other people are for it, it's kind of rubbed off on me, so I'm excited for it as well, and we can finally check out Republic Commando on the PlayStation 4 come April. Next up, we have Lost Words Beyond the Page, an atmospheric narrative adventure game, a side-scrolling 2D platformer with a very charming art style. I wouldn't expect something super grandiose out of this one. This was actually released as a Stadia title, I believe, and now it is coming to consoles and PC. An atmospheric narrative adventure that takes place in the personal diary entries belonging to a young girl named Izzy that will unfold as you explore a fantasy land where words hold immense power. It's 2D adventure platforming, immersive storytelling, beautiful visual style, and innovative gameplay is noted. Do dig the visual style, and this one looks quite nice, and this one will be out on April 6th. There is a demo available on PC if you do want to play that right now.
Her hope was shattered.
Why is this happening? It isn't fair!
I felt so confused. A cold determination gripped her. She was ready. Cinders. She needed to keep everyone safe.
I can't let her get away.
Robin pursued the beast with little thought for her own safety.
I have to find out why a dragon attacked my village.
Next up, we have another brand new JRPG coming from NIS America, Poison Control. This is one that's going super under the radar, but it's noted to be a purge poison and raise hell in a turf war style action RPG. Join forces with Poisonette to purify the Bell's Hell's spiritual realms born from the sullied hearts of a girl. So pretty quirky as far as that's concerned. I mean, that's kind of NIS America's forte a lot of the times with the games that they publish. From the worldly desires of humankind, delusions are born. These delusions, whether from the living or the dead, manifest as toxic creatures known as kleshas and bring into the being the realms of hell. After wandering into this infernal domain, your flesh and blood is usurped by a mysterious girl named Poisonette. To return to the mortal realm, you and Poisonette, as two souls in one body, must purify the hearts of the fallen. An interesting basis for a story. Excited to see how this one ultimately does turn out. More of a quirky Japanese title that I don't see getting a lot of buzz, but hey, maybe it'll end up surprising a lot of people.
Key item だと思うけど。
Speaking of JRPGs, we do have Atelier, the Trilogy coming out, the Trilogy Deluxe pack. This will be available on PlayStation 4 come April the 22nd. Atelier is a franchise that has been getting quite a bit of buzz over the last few years, and with the release of the most recent game, I feel like there's more buzz than the franchise has had in a long time. Like, I remember when Atelier was on the PlayStation 3, it would come out and it would not be on my radar at all, but now, more and more into it. Maybe that's just a personal standpoint. Whatever the case may be, you'll be able to pick up the Trilogy Deluxe pack, a collection of the titles, and that will be available on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC, so more ways to play the game.
これ錬金術にも当てはまるのかも。どの釜がいいかな。私見てみたい。もっともっといろんなところ見て回りたい。お空の下を自分の足で旅してみたいんです。ひとっ飛び。いざ水中へ。ああ、強そうかも。
Next up, we have MLB The Show 21. MLB The Show has been the premier baseball franchise, and now it's going to be available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series, a cross-platform play with all of that. And that is going to be a great addition. It was always a little bit unfortunate that the games were not on Xbox platforms, just because I'm sure there are people that have an Xbox console that just want to play a quality baseball title, and MLB The Show is exactly that. With cross-platform play, San Diego Studio is going to do a good job with this. You can expect that. MLB The Show has been rather consistent over the years, and now you're going to have it on a variety of platforms. And lastly, we have Oddworld Soulstorm. That'll be coming to PC, PS4, PlayStation 5 on April 6th. Unfortunate that if you are on the PlayStation 4, you will not be getting this as a PlayStation Plus freebie. If you have a PlayStation 5, you get it as a freebie. Very least, I know everybody is going to eventually get a PS5. Add it to your library when it does go live. Log in through the PlayStation website, and then you'll be good to go. But it will be playable on the PlayStation 4 as well as a separate copy. Gonna be a little bit of a hard sell as far as that's concerned, I feel, to some people. However, Oddworld Soulstorm is shaping up nicely. Oddworld has such a fan base stemming from a long time ago, and now it's gonna be a game that harkens back to its predecessor, and it's gonna be a quality action platforming title, one would have to assume. And again, if you're on PS5, getting it as a Plus freebie is a pretty big deal, because I believe the game is $50 or maybe even $60, so it's a premier title. But nevertheless, this is due out on April the 6th.
There will be times when the extra hands will be needed as you face off against an array of heavily armed enemies that will stop at nothing to find and end Abe once and for all. In order to stand a chance against this much larger threat, we gave Abe the ability to scavenge, loot, and pickpocket items from his surroundings and use them to craft an impressive arsenal of his own that he can share with others. You can also play as a non-lethal pacifist or an agent of chaos. We wanted you to have the choice. But there is...
And that's gonna wrap up this one. Again, a ton of cool games coming in April, quite a bit of variety as well. Let us know what games you are the most excited for in April. Are you picking anything up, or is this gonna be a buy month where you're saving your money for May and especially June, where it's absolutely stacked? That's a stacked month of new games. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.